Today I'm joined by Tyler Lorenz with Residents in Recovery, and today we're talking about the recent closing of some of your programs. Can you go into a little more depth on what programs are closing?
The decision to shut down the sober living and outpatient programs um, is directly a result of funding. Um, we've always struggled with keeping these programs going at, at a rate, that an individual that is marginalized is able to take advantage of. So we're dependent on income support for individuals to pay rent out of their shelter allowance, and then to provide the support, caseworkers and facilitators for day programming, and the overhead expenses and administration. We have to find other funding, either from government or through donations. So um, it's always been a bit of a struggle, but we've been able to do it for 5.5 years, and you know, helped a lot of people. But it's just come to the point, with our funding, with Sask Health being froze last year, um, no no real funding opportunities in sight for Alberta. Um, a major drop in donations over the past couple of years. Like we're talking, upwards of $200,000 drop. It's just not viable to continue without the financial support. We've dug ourselves a bit of a hole, uh, anticipating that one of the governments would come through, but it just hasn't happened.
Can you share any statistics that you have for donations that you have gotten over the past couple of years?
We had over $200,000 in donations back in 2021. Dropped a little bit in 2022, or my numbers right. Yeah, 2022 dropped to about 175, then dropped to 75,000 the next year, and then we've only seen about $35,000 in donations this year. So I got those years one off, but yeah, a significant drop. I get that we were a new program back then, and we had a lot of support, but things have certainly dropped off. I'm sure the economy has some part to do with that, right? And there's a lot of organizations raising money. Governments just aren't keeping things going. So all organizations have to raise money in order to keep their programs going.
What steps are being taken by your team after making this tough decision?
So we're working with everybody to come up with a plan. We had a couple individuals actually leave today. They're going back to programs in their reserves or in their communities. We're looking at transitioning a few people to other treatment programs, including Thorpe. Thorpe has been working great with us in order to fast track some applications to transition some of our pre-treatment Alberta clients there, as well as other treatment programs, First Nation programs like a pound, looking at transitioning a number of individuals into those programs, and then working on case plans with some individuals to move into independent living. Our struggle is we take a lot of individuals from First Nation or from incarceration, and there's not a lot of options for them, especially if they're on house arrest or strict conditions. There's not a lot of programs that they have available to them. So we're looking at options, of keeping them for maybe a little bit longer in one of our houses in order to either get their conditions changed so we can get them into another program, or look at other options for them as well. So yeah, it's really a case by case basis, and there's lots of work to be done here in the next couple of weeks for sure to find somewhere safe for everybody.
We spoke earlier about a meeting with the residents about some of these changes. Can you talk a bit about that?
Probably one of the hardest things I've had to do in my life. It was a full room of individuals that are really seeing this as a life or death situation for many of them. And the news was devastating. Lots of fear, lots of tears, staff and residents. We had staff that had to step out as well. This broke down, and it was really hard to see. Lots of people are really worried about their future and what that looks like now. And after that meeting, I mean, word traveled really fast. We have nearly 100 people on our wait list, and fielded a lot of calls yesterday from a lot of them that have really, this was their hope, that they could turn their lives around, and now that it's not available, yeah, it was pretty devastating news for a lot of them too. I mean, some of them have even been here before, and my phone's been going nonstop from former clients that are doing really well, and former clients that are devastated that they don't have this option available for them to come back to again.
Were there any last points that you'd like to add?
I mean, as a community, I think some advocacy, you know, the best way to help us right now is really to let governments know how important a program like this is. Writing letters to their MLAs, to the ministers of mental health and addictions. I mean, we can't operate without funding, and that funding has to come from somewhere. I mean, obviously, donations help keep it going, help get us out of the hole. And I mean, if we get out of the hole, maybe someday we look at revitalizing the program. But yeah, it's governments really need to shift their focus and move away from their, the old treatment models of brick and mortar buildings, having people go to them to get better, in these large treatment facilities, and really look at community-based models like ours that have shown over and over again huge success, way higher success rates than any treatment model has ever shown. And governments need to look at that. And I mean, it's the cost of our program as compared to any of those other options is fractions of the cost. So, and absolutely no capital investment, right? So governments need to know that they need to look at other models that maybe they don't know the best way to do treatment recovery.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about this, Tyler, and I wish you the best of luck for the rest of the year.